Welcome to the Daily Fantasy Flex Podcast, the PGA edition. I am your host, Bryan Mears. I am joined, as always, by Colin Davey and Peter Jennings, a.k.a. CSU Ram 88. This week, we are moving to the last leg of the FedEx Cup Playoffs. It is the Tour Championship at East Lake Golf Club. There's only 30 players competing, so should be a very interesting week of golf, especially DFS golf, with the dynamic of the smaller field, big payout, everything like that. So we're going to jump right in. Again, I'm joined by Colin. Colin, how you doing, man?
God, there were a lot of birdies last week, weren't there? I thought, no rain means we might get actually golf. Nope, just chocolate cake for dinner the whole time. And a chalky chocolate cake at that. I don't know, how heavy were you guys on chalk last week?
I had Leishman and all these guys that did well, and I still lost. So I don't know. It was one of those weeks where you really had to nail everything. The big miss for me, I guess, was Justin Rose relative to kind of the field. But
I mean, yeah, I kind of think that comes with the territory, and we'll talk about it this week for sure. It's tougher, in a no cut, because everybody's scoring such the same amount of points. If you hit, you're not doing that much better than if you didn't hit. And so, the top of the leaderboard is decided at the slightest of margins. And that's maybe doubly emphasized with a 30-person field. So I think it's really tough to be profitable in 72-man events. 30, I don't know. I think we should have that open debate this week saying, can you beat the rake in 30-man cash games? Because I don't know that you can at this point.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big topic. So before we get into the course and the players, I think we should just talk some strategy. So Pete, so I guess first question is, are you sort of limiting your cash games just because you're worried about the edge, or how are you approaching golf differently this week than you would normal weeks?
Well, I probably won't be playing as many lineups. It's also just from a seasonality standpoint. We're into NFL now, so that's another aspect of it. But yeah, it's 30 people. It's one of those situations where certainly there's still a lot of entertainment value. I'm going to watch. This is going to be exciting to see who wins. It's a huge payday for these guys. The winner gets $10 million, and the top five that are in contention here all have a chance. If they win the whole thing. So it's obviously a loaded field. I don't see a huge advantage one way or the other. It's 30 people to no cut. So I certainly understand that mindset, Colin. It really just comes down to the entertainment proposition for you.
Yeah, I think that's really what everybody should be treating this weekend as. It's the finale of a playoffs. It's just good golf to watch and get entertained by. But it really feels similar to almost NBA, 2 or 3 game slates.
Those are great, dude. Those are definitely more beatable than this.
Okay,
no doubt about it.
You think so? I wonder, is NBA 2 game cash slate close to being solved, or I imagine less for sure, but between it's kind of compounded on my end, and we haven't talked about course yet, but one of the other disadvantages about such a short slate and the championship is that there's less data points to get stuff like fit and history. So I'm operating with a lot more uncertainty as far as how strong to weight certain things. Combine that with the fact that just ownership is going to be so heavy on concentrated guys. You're going to have to leave a lot more money on the table in GPPs. Your spots to make decisions, or differentiating decisions, don't have a lot of leverage. I think the net result is just play fewer lineups. We kind of treat this as a fun week rather than a serious week. Go play NFL instead. Watch all our NFL stuff.
I mean, do you think that there is a big edge in leaving salary on the table? I mean, it seems like their potential, and if before sort by projected ownership earner models right now. And I mean, it's still early. I mean, we're recording this Tuesday morning, so this will change, I'm sure. But so many guys are projected for high ownership. But then, I mean, there's a handful of guys that are projected for 3, 4, 5% ownership. And it seems like if you just go overweight, that's the plus EV spot. I mean, there's really no super bad golfers in the field because it's the top 30 of the FedEx Cup points. So leave salary on the table. You're still going to have a good lineup. Just really go overweight on the guys with projected low ownership. I don't know. Maybe I'm just oversimplifying it at this point.
No, I think that's what you have to do. You basically have to pick someone with low ownership, and that's it, and just hope that it works out. That almost approaches buying a lottery ticket, though, because if they're low ownership for a reason, yes, I know bad golfers, but they're clearly all slates. better value than others. And like, yeah, it's really tough to kind of separate yourself in these low, like these short slate type environments.
Okay. I guess we can talk more about this the strategy as we move through talking about the players. But let's jump into the course. Again, this is the Tour Championship. It is played at East Lake Golf Club in just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. It's been here for quite a while. It is a par 70 course that plays almost 7,400 yards, so pretty long here. Colin, again, you mentioned that even though it has been here for a while, not many players play it. So I guess what players do well here, and then what is your confidence in that data?
Well, I should start with like the confidence is pretty low just because there's such a small sample here. At least I think with a field of 120, 144, you get 144 data points to try to trust out who does well or not. With only 30, you're going to get some pretty weak fits. And so, like, I don't have a ton of conviction on, like, what is or is not important in course fit here. The only thing that's popping for me appreciably so far is bad putters get a little bit of a boost. So putting doesn't necessarily matter. Combine that with it also is on the longer side. And, like, I'll give some weight to distance, but there's just not I think if you just went blind and went long-term adjusted round as your only basis, you're not going to be that far off from optimal. There's just not a lot of signal to go off of here for course fit in particular. That goes the same for history as well. Maybe it's different, like if you actually look at the course and aren't completely dependent on player data points to make your decisions. So I don't know, Pete, if you looked at the layout, like just anything from a visual standpoint that stands out?
Nothing from a visual standpoint. I mean, it's long. The one thing I saw is that fairways are really missed a lot here, and obviously it's thick Bermuda rough. So one of those situations where I think you want to look at guys who are just really good in terms of total driving. Dustin Johnson's done well here. If he's going to be hitting the ball long and far and accurate, I think that's a huge advantage for him. So there's a lot of guys, obviously, that can get hot, but I think the driver is really, really important just in terms of how you're going to be able to hit the ball, obviously in the fairway. And it's a long par 70, so it's not like it's just one of these courses where these guys are going to hit irons off the tee all day. It's a situation where they do have a lot of longer shots. So basically, it's just total driving. Like when Rory was Rory, he was not only really far, but he was very accurate, and that's kind of what you're looking for here. And then outside of that, scrambling, I think it's a big boost just because the GIR percentages for players when they're not in the fairway is pretty bad here. So fairways are hard to hit, and because of that, there should be a lot of emphasis on scrambling too, in my opinion.
But overall, Pete, are you going to – I mean, I know that when you build your models and you do videos for this, you weight long-term adjusted round high. Are you going to weight it higher than usual, or are you still going to incorporate these factors? And I guess the question is, like, do you really believe that, like, driving distance is really going to, improve the predictive power of your model, or are you going to go skew more towards long-term adjusted round than any other week?
I'll probably have a long-term adjusted round, maybe a little higher than normal. I think you got to find an angle and just kind of go with what some angle that you have conviction on. It's one of those weeks, like we talked about already, there's only 30 golfers. Identifying something that you think could be a big factor and just going all in on that, I think makes a lot of sense. So for me, yeah, I'm just going to be emphasizing total driving. And then the other thing I think I'm going to hang my hat on more so than other weeks is scrambling. And then just kind of taking a look at putter variance as well, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. Is there any angle, and then we'll jump into the players here in just a second. Is there any angle to identifying which players have a shot to win just based on the last couple weeks versus guys who don't have a shot to win, or is that you overthinking it as well? Pete, what are your thoughts? Shot to win the playoffs overall.
To win the playoffs overall?
Yeah.
I think you got to give a little bump to the guys who are in the top 5, top 6. Leishman's the one guy who you kind of have to see, he's playing awesome. He's playing lights out, but he's been incredibly hot with a putter, and that's been sustained. I mean, a lot of people were shorting Leishman or thought he was a good fade just because he'd been so hot with the putter. And he sustained it. Obviously, that's the most kind of noisy short-term variance stat. So at some point, he's going to regress. The question is, will it be this week? there's other guys like Daniel Berger, who I've been high on, who burned me pretty bad last week. He's been awful with the putter, and he's going back to it's a Bermuda course. That's kind of a situation you could look for. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation here in terms of what to do, just because there's only 30 guys. The recent form and like the incentives are obviously massive, but these are all. I mean, it's hard to distinguish a lot of these guys. Like in golf right now, Justin Thomas talked about it again. Like there's 10 guys. Like if they play awesome, they're gonna win. Like if someone just hits their 1 percentile outcome, like they're gonna win because these guys are all so freaking good.
Good point. All right, let's get into the players here. Headlined by Jordan Spieth at the top. He's 11-6 on DraftKings. He does have the highest implied odds to win the Tour Championship at 16.7%. Below him is DJ at 11-4. Ricky is almost in the 11K range at 10-9. Then drop down to Jason Day at 10-1. He's those are the 4 golfers that are in the 10K and above range. Interestingly, we actually have more guys in the really bottom bin compared to last week, where I believe the lowest salary players were 6'9", and there's only a handful of them. So it was really hard to make stars and scrubs lineup. But this week we do have golfers in the really low bin, like Adam Hadwin is only 6'2", Brian Harman 6'3". So it is possible to get Jordan Spieth a little bit easier if you don't mind going those guys. Colin, I'll kick to you first. What are your thoughts on the top tier of golfers, and particularly Spieth versus the field, who is pretty heavily a favorite in this one?
I mean, I basically believe that. I think Spieth is pretty, he's decently separated at the top of kind of like my overall rankings. I believe him as the favorite. Maybe he gets dinged a little bit because if you give bad putters a little bit of bad weight, then he gets a little bit of a ding. But I have him as pretty close to neutral course fit as you can get here. I think the only thing that might put DJ in a little bit higher spot is he does have really good history here. Again, that's a relative kind of term because it's such a slow sample size event. So history gets diluted there a little bit. But I still believe Spieth is a favorite overall. Other than that, everybody in kind of that 10K range I think is pretty fairly priced. I think Ricky and Jason Day have done enough to basically put themselves in that 10K tier again. I'd call Jason Day quote-unquote back. I don't think that's really a leap of faith anymore, to say nothing of the fact that he's getting really popular all over again. So I think everybody's pretty fairly priced across the board there in that 10K range. It's really tough to kind of separate anyone, and I think it's kind of going to be close to last week where I don't think anyone's going to be too enamored of the 7K range. So I think people are going to probably shy away from Spieth and DJ. So maybe that's your spot to go low ownership if you really need that.
Pete, what are your thoughts on the high end here? Definitely some interesting, figuring out where to take a stance. I would assume that all these guys are going to be fairly high, but maybe there's some leverage to be had.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think Dustin Johnson's current form is concerning for sure. Day looked like he was going to set the world on fire, had that incredible hole-in-one, which is another reason I didn't have Day. The hole-in-one just totally skewed the scores.
Oh, yeah, the scoring on DK with the hole-in-one
is just ridiculous. Yeah. So Day's hot. Justin Thomas, there's the narrative of, he was affected a lot by the hurricane, and maybe that would impact his game. I still thought he was a good player with all the birdies and how well he'd been playing. Not sure what the perception on him is. I love John Rahm. I think he's cheap out of this group, so people might gravitate towards that. Just when you look in terms of stats, Ricky has been great all year. He really has been, and he's a great scrambler, and that gives me some hope that he could do well. So just looking at recent scrambling, he's right up there. John Rahm's another one who's been scrambling incredibly well, as has JT. So I don't know. These guys are all so freaking good. They really are. This top 9K plus. These are all the guys who if anyone plays their A+ game,
they win.
They're gonna win. So
yeah, that quote that you keep on saying from JT really is spot on. So maybe you just take some stands and go over the field with exposure.
I mean, you got to go all in on some. This is not the week to try to cover some bases. You got to be all in on
No, you have a position and you buy the ticket, take the ride. Agreed.
And hope your guys finish top 3 in the tournament. Top 4 in the tournament. Yeah, that's really what you need.
Yeah, I think Rahm's my guy. I mean, if you just look at his last 3 rounds in the FedEx Cup playoffs,
And Rahm is, I believe, 5th right now.
Like he didn't win anything, but like he's the only.
5th is good, man. If he wins, he wins. I mean, that's $10 million.
Yeah, so he got 3rd at the Northern Trust, 4th at the Dell, and 5th last week at the BMW. So I mean, he's had 3 straight top 5s.
Yeah, this is the Rahm that we saw before.
Yeah, that's the most impressive like aggregate set of results over anybody left, I think.
And he's 9,500.
And he's 9.5. Yeah, he's the best value, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
he's number one in my model right now.
Yeah, I
me
think
too. Me too.
I can see him getting so. I can see everybody settling on that. Like his odds per dollar are also up there. That'll drive up ownership.
Well, he's the best value other than maybe number 1 golfer in the world, Patrick Cantlay. That's 7-8.
Oh, by the way, just for on the record, Bass called your take just absolutely egregious. He's like on your Cantlay versus JT, and he's like, anytime he wants, just come at me, and we'll have some jelly beans. He can have Cantlay all JT.
Interesting. All right. Well, yeah. It's out there. All right. Well, I'm not going to defend that one necessarily. So
no, that's right. I'm not trying to. You
got to get some odds there, Colin. I mean,
I am trying to call you out, but I'm not trying to. I understand that was a hot take.
Oh yeah, we're here. We are here. It's a hard day at the Take Factory here. Just pumping them out.
I like Cantlay though. I'm pretty bullish. So
I mean, he's 7-8 this week after another top 10 finish. I mean, like we've been on him for a while, and dude just keeps on performing. 9th at the BMW Championship in the price drop. Yeah, in a really good field. Yeah, so 7-8. It seems like him and Rahm, like just value wise, like just talent versus salary. It seems like Rahm and Cantlay are like the 2 best values.
Yeah,
all right,
I agree with that.
Yeah, real quick. Well, I'll transition this into the mid range here.
Yeah.
Matt Kuchar, he's made this top 30 every year since 2010. The only guy to do it. Howard, that is just so Matt Kuchar right there.
That is
so consistent.
That's like long-term arc, like backdoor type stuff. Oh man,
the dude is just cashing checks, bro. Like Kuchar is just banking money right now. Every chance, just you got to have a lot of respect for him. Leishman should be the total Uber chalk, I think, at 8,400.
Oh god, it's gonna like. Can we like? What's the 4-minute mile of ownership? Can we crack?
I'm fading Leishman.
50%.
Yeah.
Like, I could see it.
He's playing so good. It's so scary, and like his putter, like. If you watch, you're like, oh, yeah, he's just the best putt. Like, he's just such a good putter that he's just going to keep making him. He looks so good. But
anyone that has to him chipping off of the green last week?
Yeah, that was – yeah.
Oh, man. That's like – I want to try that now. That's
the golf course you're playing doesn't want you to try that.
No, it does not. But, yeah.
Yeah, the problem with Leishman is that, like, even if he gets 12th this week, like, that's a fine finish. I mean, it's like better than average in a 30-person field. Like, if you have a golfer that gets in 12th, like, you're not winning a GPP. Like, you have to have like the top like 6 or 7 golfers.
Yeah, depending on how it breaks down, if it's not just all the expensive guys 1 through 6, like people are going to have almost perfect lineups. Casey's another guy who's pretty interesting in the mid-range, still playing well. Great scrambler. He's right up there in the top of the model that I currently have. So he'll probably be pretty chalky as well. In terms of like leverage in this range, Chappell's been going under-owned relative to other players. We have him pretty high. I think that'll end up coming down. Hoffman, people will probably gravitate towards potentially, which maybe leaves guys like Webb Simpson. But again, it's a lot of speculation here. It's kind of hard to figure out where people are going to go. You do have some nice value in the high 6s, low 7s in Finau, Daniel Berger, and then one of our favorites, Xander's been playing awesome. So it's kind of one of the dead man that's mid 7K range. I have a feeling might go a little under-owned, with the exception of Cantlay, who should just soak up all the ownership there.
Yeah, I don't know if the secret's like in a Xander, but he was 20% in the dog leg that week. That actually surprised me. I don't know where that consensus came from or like why everybody gravitated towards him so hard, but like I don't know that it'd actually be like under the radar and get a whole lot of leverage anymore. Like the only one that I can see getting like decent leverage is our staple under the radar guy, Russell Henley, who is like really close to like Webb Simpson and Daniel Berger right now on my end. And I see him like, I mean, you really have to grind for leverage here. And I think that's what like even like a difference of like 5%, I think is a window of opportunity because the margins are just so slim here.
I think Xander was over 20% or whatever he was last week because of the pricing dynamic. He was min price, which like was 6.9. That's normally not min price, but like if you wanted to roster Spieth or DJ, you literally had to roster Xander. Like you had no choice. Like I bet the correlation between them being owned, which I can actually look this up. It was probably really, really high. So here's maybe a good question. Like, let's talk guys like Cantlay and up, or even like Kuchar and up. Who do you think is going to be the lowest owned player, like in the 8K, mid 7K range and up?
Ooh, good question. All right, who do I want to go with here? All right, Pete, you go first. I'm going to dwell on mine.
Give me those two one more time. Sorry.
Like Kuchar and all of the players priced above him. Who's the lowest owned player?
The lowest owned player above Kuchar. Okay, I thought he was my favorite. That's a good question. I mean, I guess maybe Matsuyama after playing bad last week. I don't know.
I think Matsuyama and Sergio are neck and neck for like low owned.
Yeah, but Sergio, I mean, sometimes he's owned. I don't know. It's hard to – Sergio's always hard to gauge.
I think Mats is a pretty good – no, I think Mats is a good bet for low owned.
Yeah. Which is crazy because he was the most expensive golfer just like, a couple tournaments ago. And then he missed
I agree. Oh, yeah. Like, and that to say nothing of his like, all right, well, does that mean his long-term adjusted around is still good? Then absolutely, yes. Like, I think I could – like, between Rahm – you can do a lot with Rahm and Matsuyama and build a lot and still leave money off the table.
So per our contest dashboard, pretty much half of the lineups with Spieth and DJ had Xander in them. So that was your avenue to get
that's
them.
pretty correlated. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's get back to this tier. Pete, what are your thoughts on like some of these guys that like have really low ownership? Like these are like the really low price guys. So like Adam Hadwin, he's projected for like sub 5 ownership. I always ask like your favorite player under 5% ownership. Like the answer might be that no one is, but like if you're really going for single digit ownership, it might be some of these guys in the really low range. Any stands that sort of you want to take or that stand out to you?
It's tough for me here. I don't know. I think – so what do you guys think about Daniel Berger? He's the guy that I keep coming back to. He's a guy that hasn't been playing well recently. I mean, I guess he kind of did all right at the BMW Championship last week, but hasn't kind of shown the form that I was hoping he would down the stretch here and has come down in salary. But he's a guy who's grew up in Bermuda. His putting has been really bad, and if there's anything that can regress quickly, I think that's it. So I think it's Berger. What do you guys think?
I mean, I can always get talking to Berger. I think like his talent level has always been there.
He has good history here as well.
Yeah,
the last 2 times.
A lot of signs just point to him for me, just like short Leishman on regression and go long Berger on regression.
I think anytime you start with short Leishman, like that's just because like, oh God, it's going to be so chalky. Like it's tough to you can't.
He's playing so well, and if you believe in current form, which obviously I do, I mean he's playing lights out right now. But
I think some guys really in the interesting range, like really down below, is like Duffner and Woodland. Like maybe they are like have a reasonable ownership, and they do have the history, and especially Woodland has the distance. So if he's keeping in the fairway, he could surprise. I mean, these are guys that like aren't supposed to be like really leveraged, but I mean they could be like, I don't know, like 8 or 9% as opposed to like 20 to 30, 40% of some of these top guys. I mean, it really is just really hard to find leverage spots. Cool. I mean, any other play? I know there's only 30 players in the field, so this is going to go a little bit shorter, but I mean, any other players that we want to talk about? I mean, who is the direct pivot from Cantlay? Is it like Sergio or Kuchar? I mean, Kuchar's probably going to be high owned too.
Probably Sergio. And that's a good reason why he might be the lowest owned over Mats. That's actually good thinking, Colin.
Yeah, I think Sergio, like, I don't know, like, are we even in name recognition territory with NFL around? Like, maybe Brooks Koepka, but like, he has a fan base. Like, I don't know. He's like a proto Ricky. Like, I don't just you could drive yourself nuts trying to find leverage here in short slate. So just like sometimes it's easier just take a step back and be like, all right, like there's only so much you can do. Don't drive yourself crazy this week, kids.
Sergio is really interesting. I mean, he has 2 top 10 finishes here in his last 2 visits to East Lake. He, I mean, like we were just talking like at the Masters that this dude was going to be 7-9 in this field. I mean, that's like just ridiculous value for his long-term talent. I mean, I get that he hasn't played as well recently, even though he was pretty solid last week. But I mean, 7-9 for Sergio versus the field is, and I guess Brooks Koepka is the same thing. Yeah, Brooks and Sergio under Leishman, like from a long-term perspective, is interesting for sure. But
yeah, the other fun narrative I like that. So like in case because like Patrick Reed was reasonably popular last week, and like he did play at Georgia State, right? Is that did I get the college right? He's somewhere in Georgia, right?
I think that's right, but I don't have 100% conviction.
Yeah, but he played somewhere in Georgia. It's coming back to Atlanta, and yet he has the worst history here. So please don't buy any hometown narrative like around Patrick Reed. That's the one programming note where Patrick Reed has the worst history here. So please price that in.
He went to he went to Augusta State. Yeah, University.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was some like Georgia State-esque. Like, okay, close enough.
Yeah. Interesting, huh? Yeah, I didn't even really think of the local narrative. All right. Any other last players you guys want to talk about before we get out of here? I guess we can make some picks.
Yeah, like just I mean, do we really get like God? If we don't pick the winner, where we both get like 2 picks, like then we should just maybe retire this podcast.
Maybe so. Yeah, 6 out of the 30 picks. 6 out of 30 players will have picked.
All right. Sure. All right, I'll go last. I haven't gone last in a while.
All right. Pete, you want first?
Sure. I'll take Spieth.
Fair enough. I'll take DJ.
All right. Well, let's go with
Rahm.
Yeah. I was going to pick Rahm no matter what. It wasn't like I'm not going to.
I feel like you might have the edge of me, but I'll take the odds.
Yeah, I sort of want to take Rahm straight up over the field anyway.
All right. And then what's our price cutoff here?
I don't know, man. Let's go 75 and below. Let's get tricky.
Let's barbell it. Like, all right. Yeah, I'll go Daniel Berger and just say.
Damn it! Why are you gonna do that?
I know. Just last one of. Technically, this is the last one of the season, right? Because like we got our break coming up, so this is we're gonna call it last shiv of the season.
Okay, I'm gonna go narrative street here, even though
you're not up yet. You gotta go last.
Oh, I gotta go last. Damn.
Oh, that's right. That's me. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Charlie Hoffman.
That's my dad's favorite golfer, Smiling Charlie, he calls him. I'm going Patrick Reed. I'm ignoring what Colin just said. And it's that time of year where the team events are on the horizon. He is sporting the American flag outfit.
Ooh.
I think Patrick Reed, I mean, I'll just make the call for fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's who I was going to take, but then Colin talked me out of him. So yeah, I'm fully expecting Patrick Reed to win.
I did not remember that the President's Cup is coming up, so he's got his Captain America shield like in the living room. He's polishing off again.
Yeah, he's getting ready.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we will end it there. Thank you guys for listening. Good luck this week. And then I guess we'll have a break here for a little bit over the next couple months. I guess we'll be in the NFL grind and then back for when the season restarts. So thanks for listening this year, and we'll talk to you guys soon.